Hello, book lovers. Welcome back to Procrastinate with Books. In today's new episode, we are going to cover up all the books that Goodreads has nominated and made some of them winners too in the Goodreads Choice Awards for 2023. For those of you who are not aware about the concept, this award is basically a reader's choice based awards where Goodreads lists down the most famous titles that have been selected under different genres or each age group category and then divides them, and the topmost books that have been curated under one to read or have been read by different people and have been voted are then listed down in the nominees section. From there, readers like us can go to Reads and just pick up on different genres and select the book that you want to nominate for the winning category, and whoever gets the most votes actually wins it. So it's basically like you read, you like it, you vote for it, and if many people like the same thing, they might end up being the winner. So without any further ado, let's flip the camera to the computer side and get going on what all's listed down there and check our views on it. Okay, so starting off with the best books of 2023, I think these are the books and categories. We'll be going into them one by one. So let's start off with the first category, which is fiction. Now within fiction, you can see at the bottom the books that have been nominated. So these were the nominees. Out of these, Yellowface won. Now honestly, going through the list, I personally don't have any other favorites. I have read Pineapple Street, but then I wasn't the biggest fan of it, so I don't really recommend it to other people to read. So obviously, it wouldn't be a winner. Out of this list, the only contender which I feel would be a true competitor to Yellowface would be The Wishing Game, because this book also had a great number of readers last year, so I do think a lot of people voted on for this as well. Hello Beautiful is not something that I've ever heard about, so let's just move on to the next one. In the best historical fiction category, I think Wayward also classifies for fantasy for some reason. The overall cover looks really whimsical, and I've been a fan of this. I really want to read this. I haven't got a chance to catch up with this one, surely on my TBR. I'm sure many people have their eyes on this title. Besides that, I have heard really good things about The Convent of Water and heard that it's a good book for sure. So we'll keep that in check as well. Goa as a River is something where I've heard mixed reviews about, so I'm not too sure if people should be recommending it or not. And besides that, I think we can simply move on to the next category for mystery and thrillers. The Housemaid Secrets, yes, I've read it and rated it just 3 stars. Why? Because I think the first book in this series was much better, much gruesome when it comes to the mystery and thrilling aspect of it. The characters, the scenes were elaborated in such a way that you really felt disgusted in a way, and you would definitely want to know what's happening next. However, this one, it felt like a pretty laid out mystery where a lot of things were already known to you and you could see things easily coming through. So that was one thing that really does not work in thrillers. So I think there were much better thrillers like The Last Devil to Die. I think people have heard a lot of good things about it. Housemaid Secret, not really my best recommendation. I've also read Vera Wong's in this particular section, and this one is actually a good one too. Though I do feel it's a little slow at the beginning, so it definitely doesn't classify for thrillers, but it does classify for a good cozy mystery. Again, The Homecoming by Kate Morton is a really emotional one. I think this would also classify for the mystery angle and a slightly historical fiction angle. Not sure why it's listed down in the thrillers category because there wasn't anything thrilling about it. What Lies in the Woods is again the same problem. So the story is really good, it's really intriguing, but you can see the end coming from the start itself. You just know how things are going to end and who did what from the very beginning. So it's a little predictable in that range, and that's why it might have not been the winner. The Villa, personally, I really enjoyed this one. It's about books about writers and authors where two kind of friends actually go to Italy for a 6 week summer break, and then they try to reinculcate their love for writing. And as they start writing about their own works, they discover few things around the mansion in which they were staying, and from there the story picks in. And I think it's really good, really good. Like, if out of the list, I would say the villa actually classifies for all the parameters that the books is listed in. Next up, we have romance. I obviously rated this one a 1 star because I just couldn't get through with it. Anyways, romance is not really my jam, so I wasn't really looking forward to it. But I thought other people might certainly like something way better. I'm not really sure what's good and what's bad, because to me it's all bad. So let's just move on to the next one and get over with the misery. Best romantasy. So Fourth Wing definitely caught a lot of eyes last year, and after that Iron Flame came in, and all the fames were extinguished by a water down the fire with the miscommunication trope that's there. It was like a water pouring in on Fourth Wing's fire that it has lit up in the book readers arena. It was good, but the writing is not really good. I'm not a fan of the writing. There are several plot holes and things that you'll feel weird about, but there is definitely an anticipation build-up that worked in the book one. And then the author tried to create the same anticipation build-up in the book two, which did not make sense because we had been through with it. And when you are in a series, you want to go ahead, not just be, stuck at the same level. So that's one issue that I had with this. Besides this, I've heard good things about Assistant to the Villain as well. A lot of people reading it. Hurricane Wars as well. I did not get the opportunity to hang over with the ARC of this one, so I unfortunately couldn't read it. I've heard good things about Zodiac Academy as well, the whole series in general. The rest of the titles I'm not really too sure, so maybe Fourth Wing took the chance. I mean, look at the difference of votes. Others, it's like 30k, almost 30k, 16k, and this one is in lakhs. Even my choice was this one because at that point of time I had not read any other books in this category, nor had I read The Iron Flame as well. Okay, we'll move on to the next one, which is fantasy. In fantasy, we have Leigh Bardugo's Hellbent. Now, I did not read the first book in this duology, which was, I think, the Ninth House. I somehow DNF'd it. I am a fan of dark academia and fantasy settings, but that one just did not speak to me at that moment, so I just kept it aside for maybe some other day. So I have not read this one. Tress of the Emerald Sea, I have seen people reading and heard it's a good one, but not really the best of Brandon Sanderson's work. This one has a lot of limelight, but I'm not too sure how many of the people are actually reading it than just buying it and putting it on their shelves like Priory of Orange Tree. These two really had my heart, and I think this is one list where I always find it so difficult to choose the best books because there are so many good books. I think Starling House was really good. The Sword Catcher was really good. This one I did not get a chance to read. The Last Tale of Flower Bride was really good. What's really catchy about this title is that you will think that the author is leading you to one person and you'll start hating them for all the crimes that they have done. And suddenly, with a plot twist, the whole angle changes. And then you also start hating the other person as soon as the angle changes, which I feel is such a compelling way of writing that the readers thinks what the authors want them to think exactly. And that compelling enigma that has been built up in this dark fantasy tale, to be honest, is really great. I think you have to reread it for yourself. This is one of those books that you can reread it multiple times, and maybe each time you will have different conclusions related to what you have read. Now, moving on to the science fiction category, we have the winner as In the Lives of Puppets. No, I've not read this one. I'm a fan of T.J. Klune, but there are specific areas and there is specific types of books by him that I really enjoy, such as, I think, The House Under the Cerulean Sea. There's also a sequel coming up for that book as well, or more of a companion book of that novel. So those kind of books I enjoy. The Lives of the Puppets slightly had a different theme, which I thought maybe not spoil one of my favorite authors, so I just kept this book aside by him. Besides him, I think there were several books in the science fiction category that I read, but none of them are listed down here. So unfortunately, I have not read any of these books that have been listed. So we can only do is move on to the next category of horror. Now, within horror, if you look at, I think Stephen King is really the king of horror when it comes to it, because he is great at creating the whole world build up and making the readers anticipate what's about to happen, and then suddenly with a plot twist he'll just change everything around. Now, besides Holy, I think How to Sell a Haunted House really had some great reviews on Bookstagram, and few of my bookstore friends as well have read it, and they have said such good things about it that I really want to reread this book. I had an audiobook of this particular title which I enjoyed, but I did not get a chance to review it. So I'm keeping my review saved up once I actually read this in a physical book format as well, and then probably get back to it. Now, besides this, I think yes, I do have Mr. Magic as well. Let me just grab my copy. So, here's my copy that I got for Mr. Magic. I'll just keep it at the back in here. So, that's covered up. I started reading this, but I have not yet finished it. So, it's still in a kind of hanging mode right now. I've not got a chance to close this book. So, it's still there in my currently reading pile along with several others. And I think besides that, we have best YA, adult fantasy and science fiction combined category, which had the winner of Divine Rivals. This was another category that had several of my read and favorite books. Divine Rivals, absolutely loved it, but I do like the second part of this duology much more, which is Ruthless Vows. Somehow there is not much of fantasy to go around in the Divine Rivals. It feels more like a historical fiction romance to me. Curse of True Love, done a detailed review video around this whole series. You can go check that out. I don't really like the first part, but the other two are really good. So that's there. A Study of Drowning was one of the books which I rated 5 out of 5 stars. Great book, dark academia setting, feminist protagonist, and lot of other things to really root for in this book. There have been two more favorites. The Scarlet Will, I think one reason why people voted so less for this book would probably be because they were really devastated by the way things ended in the Serpent and Dove trilogy, and because of that, not many people read this one. Secondly, few people who actually read this one read it without even reading Serpent and Dove trilogy. So you wouldn't be familiar with the character's backstory, you wouldn't be understanding what's happening, why, and how so many things are happening in the background, and it would feel kind of incomplete and unable to resonate with kind of a structure for you guys if you have not read Serpent and Dove trilogy. Now, I do know Serpent and Dove, the first book in that trilogy, is really good, but the other two books, as the series progresses, somehow it becomes intolerable, especially the last book. The way things ended, it really made me unhappy for multiple reasons. But this one was such a great book. I think every fantasy lover should read it. Then we have best YA fiction category, and the winner is a book by Ali Hazelwood. I did try A Tempest of Tea by the same author, and I did not like it. Like, it's not that I hated it, I just had several things that I wanted in the book to be worked out in a better way, which did not happen, and that's why I rated for Holly Jackson's Five Survive. The author writes really good books. I also read The Warrior Girl Unearthed, but this was a little weird story about unearthing your ancestors' previous properties, and there is this whole fight about how the museums and the government in the scenario are trying to grab and hold on to those things that actually belong to someone's ancestors, and there's this whole fight between the political power who are trying to grab on those things and the people who actually want to lay a claim on the things that belongs to their ancestors. So it was good. The topic was really good, plot was interesting, but I was not fully sold on the way the story constituted. There were several others that I've not read. Just having a look at Goodreads just make me feel how less I'm reading, despite the number of total books that I've actually read this year. Now, in the best debut novel, we have Wayward as the winner, which obviously speaks a lot for the kind of book this would be. I have high hopes for this one whenever I read this. I don't know why this book is even there and who are these 30k people who voted for this. No clue, no comments as of now. The other books I've not really read. Let's move to a less controversial category called non-fiction. I think Poverty of America got the highest votes, but I do have few other favorites in this. Now, Eight Rules of Jay Shetty. This is, I don't know how to say this, but I really don't resonate with the author of this book much based on the videos that the author creates. Somehow, all those things feel very superficial and it just doesn't feel like it's coming out from their heart. It's like they are simply creating this facade and false image and trying to, sell out the concepts and videos that they are making. It somehow feels very knuckly out of everything to me. Besides that, I read several non-fiction books like you guys would have already known, but I don't see them in the list in here, so we'll just skip through them. Now, Hidden Potential was one book which I read in ARC format and haven't rated it yet, and I voted it for the same. I think this was much better. Spoke volumes, this book did. Now we have the memoirs and autobiography. Now I do read memoirs, but I usually write reviews, but I don't really like rating them because rating someone's life is like too shallow for some reason, and that's why I did not even vote in this category. And from there, we'll be moving to history and biography. The Wager, this title definitely sounds intriguing, so this is one thing that I would probably be looking up to for reading. This is the book that I actually voted for. I really liked the concept. The earth transformed, and the author had great views, and his reviews on Goodreads also spoke volume from multiple angles. And I think humor is the final category, if I'm not wrong. And Being Henry actually got the votes because he's such a famous person and a fantastic one at that. For humor, I don't necessarily read a lot of humorous books in particular, so I don't think I have a lot of views around it. If you have read any of these, let me know. I think that would be all from the list of categories that we have covered so far about the Goodreads Choice Awards. If you want to go down further, you do have a backlist of all the years of awards that have happened since 2011 till date. So I think that would be all from this. Now it's up to you to tell me what all the books that you have read out of these, if you have some views around the kind of books that get nominated, that get voted out as winners. What are your thoughts around it? Do let me know. I'm looking forward to it. And that, my friends, were all the books that I wanted to discuss from Goodreads Choice Awards. Do let me know in the comments down below which of these books have you read in the past or are looking forward to read in the coming future. Are any of these books in your TBR? I'll catch up with you in my next video. Until then, keep your coffee strong and your TBRs long. Goodbye.